Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Imperial Scholars Podcast. My name is Mitch. My co-host is the Rad Dude. And today we follow up with the third and final part of the Sigmar Heldenhammer Omnibus Trilogy Saga thing. These are things all tend to come in triplets, I'm noticing. I'm not sure why. They all come in threes.
Yeah,
at least usually I have enough to cover for 3 parts worth.
Probably. Or you split it up just enough to always be a trilogy.
Yeah, usually. Sometimes it is a weird thing where it's like I'll read through 3 different books and it's like one book won't have enough for me to really cover, and then the third book will have enough for like 3 separate parts. So I don't know. But anyways, we're here, we're ready, and we're on to the final part. This is probably the most, how do I phrase this one? This is the one that I have the least to cover with, despite how significant it is, because so much of it is based on the narrative of the book and is so relevant to the side characters of the story.
So it's more on the side characters rather than Sigmar himself, or what?
Pretty much, yeah. That's kind of the main issue at hand with this one.
I mean, we came for Sigmar, the Chad.
I know. Don't worry. I found the wiki, so I'll have enough to cover with you there. Like, we'll go over the wiki and make sure we got everything down. The other issue with the wiki is this kind of this thing being like, I'm not sure how much of this is, well, there's nothing to base this off of, being like, it's probably for some rule book 30 years ago or something, but regardless, we'll go through what I do know happened. So,
possible, yeah.
Last we left Sigmar, he had the big battle at Middenheim. He drove off the Norskins. He's driven off the orcs. He's driven off all of this crazy stuff. And as you might recall, he had that crazy encounter with the crown that was speaking to him and whispering all this stuff like the One Ring.
And I have an idea what that crown is, too.
Yeah. You know. But we'll get there.
Yeah.
So, with that all said and done, Sigmar returns to the Empire. He returns to Altdorf, and at this point, there's a moment of peace, actually, for the Empire, where they really just base themselves off of relations with other colonies, relations with the dwarfs, and like other places, and just bringing the Empire to most of the modern-day Empire we know. It's a lot more advanced at this point with economics and farming and agriculture and all this stuff.
So it's not exactly like Iron Age barbarians, but it's like getting to like what, sort of early medieval from the sound of it, or at least in that dark age, right before the medieval period of agriculture and all that. Because again, I doubt that they are using guns unless they really paid a bunch of price, like a big price for the dwarves to give them.
No, they've not gotten to the point of getting dwarfs or dwarf gunpowder or anything like that. As of right now, it's actually like, because all is well. Because, mind you, at this point, Sigmar also went and has actually brought the offense to the Norskins.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. He went on a crusade really up there.
Yeah. And he went there actually exclusively to find Azazel, and he did not find him. But, at the same time, it's like, well, at the same time, we're dealing with all these Norskins and we're purging them off the map. So it all as well as ends well, I guess.
Until.
Well, actually, surprisingly, no. Like, that is literally the entirety of this, is he just goes and purges the Norskins. But it will bite them in the ass because, 30 generations later, because, the Norskins will not forgive and they will not forget.
And plus, if I recall, I think Azazel trained the very first ever chosen too. Morcar, I think is.
That is in the process. Yes, last time was Azazel basically adopted the first ever chosen Morcar. While he is a young boy, and it's just like, you're coming with me, kid. I'll teach you the ways.
Now, see, that I had no idea about at all.
It literally isn't covered at all in the book, except for one blurb. Like, he just has the line at the start of the final book of the omnibus. He just says, "Oh, my name is Morcar," and that's the end of the chapter. And they never follow up with it again. So I don't know how Azazel trains this kid or what he does to him to turn him into the first ever chosen.
I see. Interesting. But seriously, like, the Empire's pretty at peace despite, like, Sigmar taking, I'm guessing, like, a big chunk of forces up to commit genocide to the Norskins there.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing going on. There's no wars over the horizon. For the first time in, like, recorded history, just being like, there is nothing for any major wars going on, which is unrecorded and unprecedented for the Empire. The Beastmen are kept at bay. The Orcs have been driven back into the Badlands. The Dwarfs are on good terms with them. The elves basically don't exist, but, it's an age of prosperity and trade. Like, Marienburg is quickly becoming, like, the big capital trade center that it will later become.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, did the humans make contact with the elves here, or that's much later in the Empire's history, I'm guessing?
That's quite a bit later. Yeah. They are still, the elves still remain as the Fey folk and sort of these characters of myth and legend that just kind of, the dwarves had experiences with them, hearsay, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so they've not discovered the elves. They've not have any communication with the elves.
Because I was going to be honest, because we already experienced, like you said, Norskins, orcs, and all that. I thought it was going to be like, a Skaven incursion of some kind, or perhaps just for shits and giggles, like perhaps the Wood Elves would come for a wild hunt for some reason.
Yeah, that also somehow has not become at all an issue. For some reason, the Wood Elves, you would think they'd be prominent throughout this narrative. They never show up, actually. Which is weird.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. They love staying in their own forest, so they just mind their business and we mind ours.
But that would be like all of the Empire at this point. So that's why I'm kind of like, how are they not running into them? But I guess that's the magical area of the forest. It's just like, we don't go there. We don't talk about that. The Wood Elves are actually kind of creepy. Like they're kind of a hive mind, actually. It's very weird.
Really? In Warhammer? I mean, I know that they're a part of the forest and, taking care of it, as long as with staying in touch with nature, with the Dryads and the Treemen as well being another thing.
Yeah, well, the reason I say they're like a hive mind, I mean, we'll cover them when we get there, but like the reason I say a hive mind is based on the War of Vengeance. They make a brief little summary in the end of the book. They make a brief cameo, and it kind of is this thing where people who enter, like Druki or Azure or whatever, like they enter into the forest and they sort of forget their past identities, and it's like, now this is all we care about is tending to the forest. Everything about my prior name I've completely forgotten.
Are we talking about Are we talking about Athelorn itself, or just any Wood Elf forest? I guess.
Well, Athelorn, I'm pretty sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. From what I recall, like, again, I don't know much about Wood Elf stuff because it's elves, number one. And the whole shtick is that Athelorn is almost like a magical realm itself, where you could like go in and you think like you come out 5 minutes later, but it could be like 20 years later. It's almost like a version of the warp in fantasy, a weird version of it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the best summary, actually, honestly, is just like you just go in and you just lose yourself there and being like, come back 50 years later being like, what happened?
I like to think of it,
they never come out.
I like to think of it as like two sides of the coin. If you compare Athelorn to like the north, or the realm of chaos up north in the Warhammer fantasy world, really, where it's like time is merely suggestion at points.
Yeah, I could see it that way for sure. I mean, again, okay, I'll have to read about them, to be honest. There's an omnibus I really want to pick up on those freaks, because they intrigue me for sure, to be like, what is an omnibus about these guys? Because it doesn't seem like they're that proactive. So yeah, a story, some reading up on them, I'm sure I'll get a better feel, and I'm sure I'll be very upset.
And it depends whose perspective it is, because I bet the perspective we want to hear is like the treatment, especially Durthu being one of them.
Oh yeah. Well, even the treemen, that's the thing that's weird. It's like there's a hive mind mindset, but not even all the treemen get along together. So I don't know. But anyways, I don't want to go too far off with these guys. I gotta get back to the Empire, even though there's not too much to talk about, mind you. Yeah, at this moment. But
I was gonna say, hey, at least we didn't talk about Malekith for once.
I was going to say, we didn't talk about Malekith, and I feel like that's a sign of being like, this is how peaceful it is in the Empire. We can go on a 10-minute tangent about the Wood Elves for no reason, because it's that peaceful right now. There's that little going on in the Empire as far as bad stuff. It's all just expansion and, inventiveness and creativity and all this good stuff. Everyone's doing quite well. People are starting families and living out their lives.
So then here's a question I have, because you said peacefulness and all that. So are they, I'm sure they're trained with the dwarves because they're really good friends. What, did they mention any sort of relationship with the other human nations around them, like Proto-Kislev and Proto-Britannia?
Oh, actually, that has not come up yet. I don't think that, it's very bizarre because, the book doesn't cover any of that kind of stuff. It mostly covers trade with Marienburg. I think there's actually, they must have some semblance of trade with Britannia and Kislev, because I'm pretty sure they do make... They talk about that place that's basically... Where's the place that the Skaven stem from again? Like, where they originate from?
That's Skavenblight, which is like in between Astalia and Talea. Like in the southern realms, right? Uh-huh.
The southern area. So they are actually making trade with the southern realms. Those are expanding enough that they are creating trade with them in Marienburg.
Okay. All right, cool.
So I guess really it's a thing of, I don't know how far they've come, because there's kind of this thing of, oh yes, the trade in Marienburg is phenomenal, and all the other elector counts are very upset because Marienburg is becoming this trade route for everyone, and it's becoming very wealthy, and the lead is very stingy, and blah, 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 blah.
Makes sense, because I think in the modern empire, if Marienburg is not already independent, it's like on the cusp of being so because of how loaded they're going to be eventually.
Yeah. It's the capital point of, trade for the empire. It's just, the be-all, end-all. Like, there's a reason why you play Total War, and it's like, what's the first place I gotta take is the empire?
Marienburg. Because one, no consequences if you attack a human nation, because it's not technically part of the empire. And two, money.
Oh, what's that? Free real estate, yes.
What was that line again? That awful Tom and Jerry movie? We've got to get money.
We need to have money.
God, that movie was awful. But anyway.
I don't know what that movie, like, I know nothing about it. I just know that meme.
It was a Tom and Jerry movie that was attempted way back in like the 90s or whatever. Or even earlier. Perhaps.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The point was they need to have money. And Marienburg is doing that job. It's becoming this big trade port, and everywhere it's kind of becoming like the iconic place of the empire at this point. It's in the proto sort of stages. Altdorf itself has become this booming place for all of, the civilized people of, the southern realms, basically.
Mm-hmm, right.
But southern by the Norscan standards, but the southerners, And everything is going phenomenal for the empire. And, the main thing at this point is like sort of the transition at this point is that the main issue being just scavengers in the forest and in the woods. Right?
Oh, those wild folk from last time that Sigmar tried to massacre?
They actually never pop up again for some odd reason. Like those dudes who are basically like shades, right?
Right, yeah, those ones.
Yeah, they never show up again, actually. They're just kind of off the grid. It seems like Sigmar did borderline massacre and genocide them off the map to the point that it's like they will never be an issue again. They'll never get mentioned.
Oh, okay.
But at this point, the main issue right now is the sort of scavengers of the woods and like, forest goblins and all of this kind of stuff, right?
Oh, those scavengers. Okay, I thought you meant okay, got you.
Mm-hmm. No, not those dudes. Yeah, like scavengers as in like beastmen and forest goblins and all that.
Sure.
And at one point, there is a dwarven caravan that is transporting some goods and is attacked, and all of the dwarves a majority of them are killed. One flees for dear life to try to get to the empire and is saved by one of Sigmar's best buddies, and basically is just speaking in like these weird. He's just speaking in nonsense, even like translated by like Dwarvish to Reichspiel. Mm-hmm. It still doesn't sound like a fluent. He's not making any sense. He's not making sentences.
Okay.
And kind of like me right now. And they take this dwarf who's badly injured and they go to try to get him healed up at the Shrine of Alea or Shalia. And he basically says there's what I think he calls it the thunder shot. He's like, you need to go and find the thunder shot. I hid it underground before the goblins could take it. And so they go and they do go to just find this thunder shot thing, and they just dug it under the ground, and it's in really bad shape. They aren't really sure what this thing is, but it looks like some kind of weapon. Mm-hmm. They're like, all right, well, we'll bring it back, and hopefully Master Ulrich, the dwarf that lives in the Empire, hopefully he can fix this thing up and we can get this thing resolved. They want to bring it back to the engineers of the dwarfs up in Zufbar, but for the time being, we'll try to deal with this. We'll try to replace all the broken pieces. Cut to a different scene. There is, unfortunately, a funeral taking place for one of the Elector Count's sons. And this Elector Count is going and burning the body of his dear son and sending him to Ulrich, the proper funeral rites and all of this. It's this big thing for everyone to come and witness. And then all of a sudden, this very weird, shady character walks in. And for some reason, he just starts talking a lot of shit to everyone present, but in particular, the Elector Count that's present. And the Elector Count's looking at him going like, what is your deal with me? What's your problem, sir? I don't know who you are. You're dressed in this weird attire that I don't recognize. You don't look like an Empiresman. You got this weird, creepy aura going about you. And eventually this guy just keeps talking shit, being like, yo, you wouldn't understand. You could never fathom my potential and the potential of me and my kin. And the guy's like, what the hell are you talking about? Let's just kill this guy and just put him, 7 feet under, 6 feet under, and just call it a day. They go to try to attack this dude, and he's moving with inhuman levels of grace that just are like unfathomable. And then they go, oh, okay, the initial guards could not kill this guy. Let's bring in a lot more. And then all of a sudden, this giant figure just comes flying in out of nowhere. He just like comes flying in like the Incredible Hulk sort of leap and just lands in the center. And this guy looks at the Elector Count and goes, best not to make Krell here too angered. It might upset him and might send him into a frenzy. So this is the first appearance of that Krell, the warrior that Heinrich Himmler has in Total War, right?
Oh, so this is where they start out.
Yeah, this is where he starts out, and he's actually just this. So the lore of Krell is that Krell was basically a Khornate warrior who was, champion of Khorne and chosen of Khorne. And even when he is brought back, no matter what, his soul is basically bound to the insatiable bloodlust of the blood god. But you can already guess there's a weird, creepy character walking around with an undead dude. So, this dude is a vampire.
Heinrich, you mean, or someone else before him?
The dude who walked in and started talking mad shit. The guy who came in and just started like dunking on people.
Oh, but Krell is an undead guy at this point?
Krell is also undead at this point. Yeah, he's in that zombie form. He's just this like weird withered skeleton thing. But he's still this like 10-foot tall, clad in black armor, berserker looking dude.
Right, because I do know that Krell was a Chaos champion, like, in life, and then when he died, that's when he then became the big, strong white bodyguard, really, of Heinrich Himmler, eventually. I didn't know there was, like, this thing in between, though.
Yes, yeah. Before that, this is his current state, and this vampire introduces himself and says, you may refer to me as Khaled al-Montasir. So this is a Lamian sort of vampire from way back when who has come to just basically wreck shit. And they ask him as much, being like, what are you here for? Why are you assaulting us? Why are you attacking me and my people? Leave us alone so I can bury my son in peace. And the Elector Count goes and fights this vampire. And the vampire is like, oh, your battle prowess is impressive. Don't worry, I won't kill you the way I've killed your men. I will bless you with a vampiric kiss and turn you into one of my kins. And it's like, what the hell is this? Why are you doing this? It's like, oh, this isn't my will. This is the will of my master. And he basically just forces the dude's eyes open and goes like, look into the dark here. And then this weird shadowy figure starts forming like Sauron out of the Hobbit, just this weird ghostly apparition. And the guy is like terrified to just look at this thing. It's like the very appearance of it sends fear down his spine. And he goes, yes, behold my true master, the Lord of Undeath, the mighty Nagash.
Here comes the third event.
Here comes the third event. So Nagash is back, and he is right now. It's very weird the way they write him because he's present. He has become a reality again. But sometimes they describe him as this sort of ghostly apparition, and other times he's a wraith. But he's just this like unspeaking force of nature sort of villain that just doesn't say anything the entire book. He's just a folk legend.
Well, wasn't his body like destroyed back a few hundred years ago by, what was his name again? Alcatrazar or whatever it was?
It was, yes. That's what I mean when I say it's a little odd the way they write him, because sometimes he seems like he has a physical appearance and other times they write it as not really that way based on the description.
Okay.
It seems like it's kind of based on his magic, like his dark magic, to kind of make himself appear as this sort of wispy, sort of astral deity. But he does have a physical form.
Oh, yeah. And of course, like, I also just realized, like, I should have realized that Crow was going to be here because I don't know the exact details, but I knew that Crow did have some history with Nagash, or at least being like a big general of his back in the day.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, there you go. That's kind of the role that he plays here is not so much like a general. It is just this sort of bodyguard of that vampire Khaled el-Montasir, and just sort of this like shock troop dude to just be like, get in there, buddy.
No. Yeah, I shouldn't have said general. I mean the champion, kind of like Lu Bu in Three Kingdoms.
Yes, yeah. Because I was about to. The aspect of calling him a general is like he can't even. He doesn't seem to speak. So I think he's literally just bound to just being like this. Again, he himself is kind of this force of nature to just be like, get in there, bud. Start chopping off heads.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But this vampire does just turn this Elector Count into a vampire and basically is like, yes, now is the time to start like bringing destruction to the Empire. But a little bit of time passes, and Nagash, being the arrogant dumbass that he is, actually sends this vampire to Sigmar's court.
In Altdorf?
And yes, and tells him, like, oh, I am Khaled El-Muntasir. I am an envoy of the Dark Nagash, the Dark Lord Nagash. And I'm offering you a chance of surrendering now before we come in here and kill you all. And don't worry, those who are deemed worthy will have a role playing a vampire in the future. So don't worry, Sigmar and all you good, you know, all of his buddies. You're all good. We'll turn you all into vampires and it'll be a great time and you can co-rule with my lord over the known world. What do you say, guys? To which Sigmar basically says, kill that man. Bring me his head. And Khaled El-Muntasir runs out of the court, runs out of the Great Hall, and jumps on I think it's called like a nightmare, like the flying horse thing, right? And flies off into the dark, into the night.
The undead Pegasus thingy, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he just hops on one of those things and he just flies off. Sigmar at this point realizes the name of, Nagash and goes, okay, so this is pretty much a folklore tale that has just been handed down from mouth. No one really knows the origin at this point because, it was literally just that Nagash became this boogeyman.
Oh, so traveled all the way from Nehekara to the Empire. Although, again, it was like, this is like, what, hundreds of years after those events that you last talked about?
Yeah, that's exactly why he's just become like a boogeyman of being like, oh yeah, we don't have anything to record it of him really, like of Empire myth. Mm-hmm. But we do just have word of mouth based on how much of a dick he was back in Nehekaran times. But I mean, mind you, oh boy, what a piece of shit.
Oh yeah, well obviously Nagash was probably like one of the worst rulers of Nehekara. I can absolutely state that.
I think he might just be one of the worst guys, just one of the worst people in all of Warhammer Fantasy. Maybe even Warhammer, period. He might be the closest thing to the Erebus of Warhammer Fantasy.
I could see that because, again, with Malekith, he was good for a while, and Archaon, same thing for him as well, once we cover his lore. Like, in the future. Yeah.
There's just nothing redeemable about Nagash. You just love to hate him. He's just such a piece of shit.
Yeah, I'm really scrounging in my mind of like any other antagonist, but nothing can really come up to his level of just sheer dickness. Yeah.
No, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. And again, it's like I read the entirety of The Sundering, and I'm like, at no point do I go like, yeah, like Nagash or Malekith even comes close.
Yeah.
Just the pettiness of Nagash is what really makes it like so uncomfortable.
Well, I think that's also what makes him just so much more memorable because he started out as a bad guy and still was. Like, there's nothing redeemable about him. He's like an old school Disney villain where you just love to hate him and just love to see what kind of bullshit he comes up with next.
Yeah, he starts off a bad guy and he only gets worse.
He's like Scar if Scar actually had some backbone and did shit himself.
Yeah, but also if Scar just got reincarnated every time and you were like, because that's the thing, even Scar has his charm. Nagash is just, ugh.
Well, the thing is
that's funny too, because
sorry.
There is like the aspect of Scar that is just being like, yeah, I'm just gonna wait around. Because even in the Lion King, Scar just waits around and everything turns into dead.
And again, like there's very few times where he actually did anything. He never got his hands dirty because he knew he could not fight really until the very end when he tried to, just because he was cornered. But yeah, the thing about Nagash is that he could actually kill you just with a look. He actually had power behind him.
I just thought about it, though, too. Nagash also got cornered, so I'm like, is Nagash the Scar of Warhammer? I found a weird trend there. Anyways.
Actually, yeah, because when he took over, the entire place just went dead. And actually, if I recall, his Black Pyramid made the entire nation bankrupt because it's the material and how much there was, too.
Yeah. And the only way that they could actually beat him was just by cornering him when he least suspected it. And then the second he got into an actual fist fight, he got his ass kicked every time.
Yep.
Weird parallels going on here. So yes, Nagash, the eternal dickhead, is back from the dead, is this weird wispy sort of deity creature, and Sigmar goes, all right, we gotta go and look up what's going on with this foe. I know vaguely about vampires because I fought them one time, but Nagash is a whole nother thing that we gotta go and do our research on. Mm-hmm. So there's a character in the book that he sends into the libraries who is like Gandalf with the scrolls. But, in Lord of the Rings, in the movie, Gandalf disappears for about 2 minutes and comes back to the Shire. Mm-hmm. In this, the guy is in the catacombs for like 10 years.
Well, it takes him that long?
I don't know if it's 10 years, but it's years that he's down there looking over everything.
How much shit does the Empire have? Because wait, how old is Sigmar at this point? Because he said when we started, he was like 20-ish years old, right?
Yeah, he is definitely like more middle age. I would say middle age. I would say maybe late 30s, early 40s.
So let's say about 20 years, right? Let's say about 20 years.
Yeah, about 20 years has passed.
So in 20 years, the Empire went from like, not exactly mud huts, but like wooden shacks and a bunch of palisades to like being almost like having gigantic fucking libraries and stone walls.
Yep. Because he realized being like, this is what we need to focus on. This was what his friend was like, I want to expand the knowledge. I want to create libraries. And he went, yeah, sounds good, bro. Let's get on that. Let's get on that project. I believe in the power of knowledge, so let's get on that.
Well, I guess having the dwarves as really great eyes helped a lot in expediting that.
Well, that's the thing, is you think about what he was doing while they were at war. He got a lot done for the Empire, even just structurally building stuff up from there.
True.
The idea of actually having peace and being like, what can we achieve now?
Mm-hmm. That is true, yeah.
So yeah, they went from being like, we're living in mud huts to being like, let me create a fucking French library that we can just like find like Beauty and the Beast, that we can find all manner of knowledge from. So the guy goes down there and he's like, all right, I gotta go over all this stuff. I gotta find all this information, blah, 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 blah. I'm gonna cut forward a bit, and Nagash has sent off his guys, and there's been a bunch of things of just like zombies just attacking different places here and there.
Uh-huh.
And the thing with the book is that the book covers a lot of the separate attacks of, eventually they go and they attack Marienburg, and Marienburg has to defend itself against a necromancer on a zombie dragon. So they actually succeed in doing. There's all the politics of the Empire taking place at this point, which is playing the role of just a real headache for those trying to lead against this horde.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then Nagash's forces are just going and attacking small villages, and anything they kill gets added to the horde. That this huge sort of migration of people are just forced to leave their homes and just flee towards Altdorf, being like, we're probably going to be best off there. Along the way, this migration of people actually encounter some dwarves. And, at some point they save the dwarves. The dwarves are just following along with them. The dwarf looks and goes, you're probably best off leaving the elderly behind. I don't think they're going to make it. It's like, no, we're not leaving anyone behind. And the dwarves are like, all right, fine. I guess we're going to hang around with you. Like, Nagash is on our tail, but if they reach us, we're going to die along with you. And it's like, we don't expect you to wait around and die with us. It's like, no, we're honor bound. We're not going anywhere. I resent you for making me stay here and fight alongside you and probably getting killed in the process, but I won't leave. You understand?
I mean, yeah, that is dwarves to a T, really, just honor bound and grudgeful.
Yeah, good. Well, the idea of I'm grudgeful that you're making me stay and be true to my word.
I like to imagine.
I hate you.
I like to imagine like I'm gonna stay here, but I'm gonna write this down in my journal here, my little mini book of grudges before I die.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just writes down like a diary of his. That way, someone comes and is like, "P.S. I probably died, so blame it on this guy here. Spit on his grave if you can. Peace."
Blame it on this Umgi. I don't like her, but she was my battle brother. I died alongside her.
Well, yeah,
sucked.
They would be so spiteful, like to the person who's like, yeah, it sucks, but I have to do it anyway, so gotta write down something at least.
Something must be recorded. I'm not happy. Anyway, so the dwarves are, at this point, there's a dwarves that are also like walking alongside the people, trying to get them to Altdorf, trying to get them all in one piece. Again, the thing with the book is that at a lot of points you think that certain characters are killed and others are, manage to make their way and all this stuff. And at one point, Queen Freya appears actually with two children.
Oh boy!
They're looking at these kids. Like eventually, Sigmar goes and helps out these kids, and he goes and rescues them. And then he's looking, going like, these kids look weirdly familiar. And the reason being is that it's like, these are actually Sigmar's children that he didn't know were born. Freya kept them a secret from him.
Oof. I mean, then again, you described that night, so I was like, there's no way she won't get pregnant from that.
Yes, and also Sigmar will kind of acknowledge being like, well, yeah, she would never settle down, so nothing about this really surprises me. But also, I can't believe she would keep this from me.
Yeah, I mean, like, what
Now
the
these
hell?
are like young adults.
At least let him know about that.
That's what he kind of has come to the conclusion of. Yeah, because now these kids are like young adults or like, older teens.
Although, didn't you say he took an oath, like, after Ravina's death, of, like, he will never bear children or something like that?
Yeah, that was his oath, which was kind of why he looked at it going like, huh. So now I have actual heirs, and I don't know what to do with them because they've grown up their entire life without knowing me, and now I just have two grown-ass sons.
And I'm guessing he was trying to make the Empire where someone else took over after him that was, obviously, like you said, not related to him. Not hereditary at all.
That is, yeah, he comes to this conclusion at this point being like, even if these kids are born, regardless, whoever comes to rule the empire, like I'll be in the ground at some point because I'm just a mortal man.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And, eventually we will need a new leader and I will have it be by merit, not by my lineage.
So he was trying to like establish somewhat of a meritocracy from the sound of it.
Oh, yeah, he was. Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Oh, yeah, I mean, standard stuff for Sigmar, I guess, of like what you can expect.
Right.
The point being like, yeah, he did actually have sons at one point that were just sort of his illegitimate heirs that he didn't know about, but they were there. Which I suspect is probably the kids who like sire the future generation, because I'm pretty sure Karl Franz is a direct descendant of Sigmar, so it's probably,
Karl,
one of theirs.
I thought Volkmar was, but I could be wrong.
Maybe I'm mistaken too, but I thought I read that in the wiki about Karl Franz earlier.
Okay, makes sense there. Do we know the names of these two children?
We do, but I don't have them available with me at the moment. And I mean, they're dead now. They're long dead now.
I guess they're not important enough. All right, that's fine. Just Sigmar's kids.
They really aren't, to be honest. They're important for the point of a plot point, because really the entire book, they're just kind of being like taken care of, and they're just kind of being kept safe.
Okay.
Yeah, that the whole book really consists of these characters you get invested in, and then being like, see how this close call they had? They almost got eaten by Nagash's wolves, or like they nearly got killed by zombies. And then all these small interferences and all these battles. But eventually this giant migration of people make their way towards Altdorf. And Sigmar goes, we've got no choice, guys. We got to let all these people in. I'm not going to turn all these people away. It's getting crowded in here, but also, like, God damn it, I'm the emperor, and I'm letting all these places get razed by this undead asshole.
So literally every portion of the empire has been taken over except Altdorf?
A lot of the north. Not all of it, but a good portion of the north has been taken over, farther northern areas.
Oh, so that's where Nagash started his thing? Up there?
Yeah, for some reason I think he starts in Nordland.
Okay, that's an odd place, but I guess. Nordland's not the best place, really, for defense, so makes sense.
Yeah, well, it's also weird being like, how did he manage, like, the vampires and everything managed to get all the way over there undetected, and then they went and attacked that place, and then they went down and spoke to the Emperor.
Well, you said
like they went all the way from there to Altdorf.
Well, you said one of them was a Lamian, right?
Yeah.
Well, they are like masters of diplomacy, deception, and charisma and all that. So I'm sure like they probably like bribed or just killed or seduced people along the way, is my guess.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess that could be the potential of what happened. I think actually they did have a small horde at that point to like take over the town. So there was some weird like shadowy magic going on.
Well, it's like when you play any undead faction, really. It's like you gotta start low, sneak around, then you take a little stroll around the cemetery, and then boom, you got somewhat of an army, at least to start.
Yeah. Because when he turned the Elector Count there into a vampire, it was this thing of like all of a sudden this horde just comes out of the darkness and just starts like attacking people and turning them into undead.
And that was in Nordland, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, because okay. And was Middenheim taken over?
Middenheim remains guarded. Middenheim remains defended, actually.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, actually, it's kind of weird. Ulrich remains in Middenheim and goes like, yeah, no, I'm going to stay here and make sure like they don't take the flame of Ulrich, even though I know Nagash is going to Altdorf. But whatever, Ulrich, he's like, priorities first and foremost. Oh,
yeah, and you were talking about how like at least the major cities are defending themselves, but like countrysides are just getting absolutely flattened, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, makes sense. Right.
Also, at one point, flagellants actually become like a thing, like weird, like flagellant cults become this prospect of the Empire. But they're not like devotees of Sigmar or anything. It's sort of just doomsday guys.
Oh, so it's like a prototype version of what we have now as flagellants?
Yeah, and it's literally just started by some random nutcase in Middenheim.
Maybe that's meant to be like a parallel with actual real history. We begin like flagellants during the Black Plague, like the bubonic plague, in medieval times. That's my guess, at least.
Yeah, that would make sense. The weird thing is that they just pop up. There's not like a big critical moment that causes them to appear. It's not like, oh, Nagash's faction and his dark forces are rising and we have, started going this weird religious way to sort of combat that. They just start doing this long before Nagash even pops up.
Oh, okay.
Good.
Well, I guess
never mentioned again. But my point was just being like, at this point, there's enough. It's sort of weird. There's enough function in the Empire that this kind of dysfunction starts taking place, is my point.
Well, I was going to say, like, because you said they started before Nagash, so I'm guessing that things were so peaceful that people probably just got so bored that they tried to just try shit out, really.
Yeah, it's sort of this weird, like, it almost sounds Slaneshi. If you didn't know, like, it would sound like some weird Slaneshi shit.
Yeah.
But I swear, this is just totally normal, I guess, by the standards of the Empire. So this huge migration comes into Altdorf, and Sigmar's looking over everything, going like, shit. All right, we're going to have a big final battle because, of course, we are, because I'm Sigmar, the goddamn Heldenhammer. And at that point, this dude comes out of the tomes and comes running into this council and has this thing where he's like, I found the weakness. I found out what Nagash is after. Oh, I remember actually now at one point. At one point, the reason that he sends the vampire to Sigmar is because it's this thing of he wants his crown back.
Yeah, it was because it was the crown of Nagash, wasn't it?
It is the crown of Nagash. Yes, it is the crown of sorcery that Nagash himself wielded. So it is literally his essence. It is literally the One Ring.
Yep.
So Sigmar realizing this is like, oh, okay, we have the thing that he is craving, because the guy comes in and says, this is Sigmar's, what Ravina is to Sigmar, this is to Nagash. This is Nagash's greatest obsession. Because he hasn't gotten over Ravina this entire time. There's a moment where he goes and like is kneeling at her grave and goes like, oh yeah, soon I will be joining you.
Oh, damn.
That's a side tangent. Point is, Nagash's crown, the big thing that he wants, the big thing that Nagash is going and fighting over. And Sigmar kind of comes to the conclusion, all right, well, it seems I will have no choice. I'll have to wear the crown again.
So they figure out that that's the weakness, is that's what the crown itself, or what?
Yeah, the crown itself is what Nagash cares about. The entire reason that he's been raiding the Empire, the entire reason that he's down there in the first place, is just because he wants his crown back. How
the hell did they get up there in the first place?
Nagash, or?
The crown, I mean, because the reason why Nagash is here is because of that. And I think we found it from like, what, an upstart necromancer a while back?
Yeah, a necromancer that I think was fleeing like an attack. What the necromancer's backstory was is unclear as well.
It's probably one of those cases like he just found it on the road, just picked it up.
Literally Gollum.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just be like, ooh, shiny, pretty. And then, somehow it worked its way down and it reached Sigmar, and now it's just been kept in a tome, and Sigmar's like, all right, I'll have to wear this thing again to go and fight Nagash. And Sigmar rides out with his elector counts and sees like, oh, you've actually gone and turned some of my elector counts into vampires, you dick. And now that they've become vampires, they've kind of lost any semblance of their prior nobility. They've just become completely corrupted. And it's sort of this weird thing where once you become a vampire in Warhammer, you lose your consciousness, basically, or like your conscience.
Yeah, because isn't it that while Nagash is around, you are just enslaved to him as a vampire?
Yes, but it seems like they're all too comfortable to just be like following his will regardless.
Okay.
Like they seem very like, oh yes, this is the best thing ever, Sigmar. Come and join us. They're not like completely like dead husks like old Krell is.
Okay.
Like I said, they just seem to lose their any sense of conscience, and are just kind of like, oh yes, we love bloodletting and murder and eating people. That's messed up, dude. You're no longer my friend.
Almost like a trance of some kind, I guess, or hypnotism.
Yeah. They just completely just swap over their personalities.
Okay.
But Sigmar looks at this and goes, all right, well, there's only one way to resolve this because I'm sure as hell not going to become a vampire lord. So he does this big final march against Nagash's forces out in the fields with the collected forces of the Empire who have just moved into, Altdorf for the brief timing. And he kind of goes, yep, this is our final stand. We're going to drive back the undead. Men of the Empire, are you with me? And all the Empire's men are roused up in a way that only Sigmar can. And, they charge out headstrong, which doesn't go badly. But you do need to consider the fact that they're fighting the undead vampire forces and also Krell.
Yeah, and they're also on open field, so no walls. But again, maybe Sigmar actually watched season 8 of Game of Thrones and realized it was a terrible idea, but yeah.
No, fortunately, there was none. There's no catacombs.
God, yeah.
He pulls a reverse season 8. And they just run on straight ahead and just start fighting.
Nagash being, you're approaching me, huh?
Yeah, it is literally that meme for Sigmar to go, I can't beat the shit out of you if I don't. So, they're fighting and there's this big battle taking place, but the obvious issue being that everything that gets killed very quickly rises as part of Nagash's horde. So Sigmar's looking at this going like, damn it, I can't hold out like this for too long. All right, it's time for, the final plan, the final part of this plan. And throws the crown of Nagash on his head and goes like, all right, let's do this. And Nagash immediately senses the crown and basically just starts heading towards straight for Sigmar. And Khaled Al-Montasir is like, dude, everything okay? Nagash doesn't say anything to him. He just starts walking. And so at this point, it's sort of this thing of there's a secondary battle of everyone versus the undead, and then there's Sigmar versus Nagash. Mm-hmm. Which is pretty baller because Nagash has become this 12-foot tall skeleton deity thing. It sounds like he's about a quarter of the way to becoming like the god of death that he becomes down the line.
Oh, I thought he was just like a wraith or a ghost of some kind.
He is just sort of this weird wraith thing. But, eventually he does become this deity-like figure where he fights Cetra and wins, right? Right now he's probably about a quarter of the way there, I would guess.
Oh, yeah, that's end time stuff. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. He's about a quarter of the way there, and Sigmar's like, all right, let's sell this one-on-one. And Nagash has this big magical, he's summoning this big magical sword that he's trying to attack Sigmar with. And honestly, Nagash is pretty weak in comparison. It's mostly just this fact that Sigmar's fighting a fucking 15-foot skeleton monster. That really is what's keeping Sigmar at bay. It's the height difference.
I see. He has the high ground after all.
He is the high ground at this point. So yeah, Sigmar's fighting this damn thing. And at one point, Nagash goes, you're fighting me with so much due diligence, and for what? Let me give you a vision of what your legacy will become. And he gives Sigmar a vision of what the Empire would become, and Sigmar is borderline disgusted. This is like a Horus Heresy moment where he sees what will become of the Empire. But here's what's the difference between Horus from 40K and Sigmar, is that Sigmar sees all of the horror that will occur in the future and goes, fuck it, we ball. And Steele's, yeah, all right. I don't care. Keep coming at me, dickhead. We're going to sell this one-on-one. And he goes to the conclusion being like, well, I can't overpower you. So he takes the crown and he goes, hey, asshole, think fast, and just throws it towards Nagash, which provides him the opening he needs because Nagash just kind of reaches out like, my process. And as he's reaching out, Sigmar just comes flying at him with all of his power and just strikes Nagash square in the chest with Galmaraz. And he just sort of erupts into this just spectral light and just vanishes.
I have not seen this anime before, but it sounds like throughout this entire thing, Galmaraz, the weapon, is just like a way for Sigmar to become One Punch Man, really.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Honest to God, yes. That is a perfect analogy. There's an issue in your way, Galmaraz, and the problem is resolved.
I mean, it's the Warhammer. I mean,
it is the Warhammer.
Why should it be any less?
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
So wait, Nagash gave him an actual vision of the future. Wasn't anything false about it?
No, like I said, it's almost identical to what happens in Warhammer 40K, where Horus gets like a vision of the Empire, or like, the Imperium, and goes like, oh my God. And that's how he turns traitor. Spoiler, I guess.
Well, yeah.
But, in this case, Sigmar sees the exact same thing of what happens to the Empire. And he goes, meh, whatever. We'll figure it out when we get there.
I guess it's better than than a dead place anyway.
Yeah, he's looking at it going like, what do I care? Like, the alternative is that you're asking everyone to turn into frickin' zombies, dude. Like, that's not happening. Get the hell out of here.
I mean, Sigmar actually has a good point there.
Yep. Oh, I also forgot to mention, at one point, they get that dwarven thing, that dwarven weapon I mentioned earlier, right? They get that thing fixed up and brought out.
Thundershot, I was wondering about that.
Yeah, the dwarves actually see Krell on the battlefield, and they recognize him immediately because Krell was actually put down by the dwarves the first time around.
Oh, okay.
And so his name is in the Damas Kron, like the Book of Grudges, being like, all right, we did it once, we'll do it again. Bring it on. And they get that weapon fixed, and I suspect, based on the description, I think it's the first organ gun.
Ooh, okay.
And so they get this thing fixed, they bring it up onto the battlefield, and they just aim it directly at Krell, and Krell just takes the full force of an organ gun shot, just straight on.
Oof.
But this doesn't actually kill Krell, surprisingly.
I was gonna say, like, looking back at Krell's, not his miniature, but just how he looks, I think he has, like, a broken horn on his helmet, doesn't he?
He does, yes. Yeah.
I'm guessing it's either from this or just sometime before that. But I'm guessing this battle here.
Well, I mean, this battle, like, he just takes the full brunt of the organ gunshot, and it just completely, like, it actually does, like, break off, like, pieces of his torso.
Okay.
He straight up, gets, like, an anime-level wound where just pieces of him just, like, fly off in, like, perfect circles. You ever see Kung Pao?
No, I don't think I have, unfortunately. I'm not as much of an anime guy as you are, unfortunately.
No. Kung Pao was this parody movie about like martial arts, and there's a scene where he punches a dude, and a perfect circle like falls out of the guy.
Oh no, I completely forgot about that movie. Unfortunately, I have not, but I've heard great things about it.
Yeah. Well, there's a shot where he like punches a dude, and a perfect circle of the guy just like falls out like a peeps of like a slab of ham. And that's kind of what happens to Krell here. He just gets blasted by the organ gun and is forced to retreat.
I also looked up some images, and now I realize like where I heard that name before. It has the little cow fight scene in it too.
Yeah, that's the one. But yeah, so Krell is defeated and he's driven back. They don't actually manage to kill him, though, this time. Nagash is killed and destroyed by Galmaraz, and all of the undead are just turned into ash. A handful of the vampire lords do manage to escape, and it's kind of just like the same thought process as like Ark in the Black, being like, all right, well, I guess now it's my turn to try to be in charge here and try to figure something out.
Wait, you said like Ark in the Black, or was he actually up there?
No, like Ark in the Black. Ark in the Black is not present at this fight.
Okay, sorry, I misheard you there.
Yeah, it's all good.
So hang on. So Krell took a shot from the thunder shot, or a few of them, whatever, and then decided just to book it?
Yeah, he retreats. He's driven out into the Norscan tundras. Sigmar, later on down the line, Sigmar takes an expedition to go and hunt him down, and that's its own thing where they do find him and defeat him there.
Okay.
Not easily, mind you. But they do manage to defeat Krell in this big one-on-one fight. There's a scene where Sigmar goes and tries to save a friend of his who was pretty critically wounded. And he does the same thing he did with his dad, where he goes to like this astral plane to go and like try to help out his friend and make sure he doesn't get killed. They don't actually take his soul away.
Oh, this again. Okay.
Yeah, we're back to this again. And surprisingly, actually, this time Sigmar is not able to fight off the forces of the warp, if you want to call it that. He's actually being dragged down and taken over by all the monstrosities in there. But then all of a sudden, this weird dwarf just appears, and his axe just shines with this godly light and like causes all of them to all the monsters there to just flee. And he's like, oh, thank you, friend. I appreciate the help. All right, I'll be taking my friend and we'll be going. Like Sigmar says this is to the dwarf. And the dwarf's like, oh, no. Your friend is staying here with me. But you're right. You do need to return back to the mortal plane. And he goes like, oh, like, okay. That sucks. But, I don't even, who are you, man? Like, how'd you get here? Like, I don't even know your name. And the dwarf goes, oh, don't worry, you will. So I'm pretty sure this is Grombrindle.
I was gonna say there's only one dwarf that really was like too angry to die, and that's Grombrindle of all people.
Mm-hmm. So for some reason, Grombrindle also randomly appears in like the purgatory of the Warhammer world.
Well, that's his whole shtick, is that he just appears when people need him most, although specifically dwarves, but hey, Sigmar is good enough, I guess, for him.
I thought he always appeared in the physical realm, too. I'm like, why are you in purgatory, bro?
That's what I meant, the physical realm. I don't know how purgatory worked in this one, but okay.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's just there. It's like, I'm there where people need me most. And I'm like, well, that's great. Like, why did it take you this long to reach Malekith, then? Anyways, Grombrindle and Sigmar met.
Well, if anything, wasn't Malekith the one that broke the oath and therefore made Grombrindle a thing in the first place?
Yes. So, is Grombrindle is he a warp deity?
Well, I was gonna say, I thought Grombrindle. Well, again, spoilers alert here, but I thought Grombrindle was like the reincarnation of Malekith's old friend Snorri Whitebeard when he broke the oath and actually attacked dwarves and caused the.
Yeah, he is.
The age.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So is that the thing? Is it just Snorri's soul is just like in the Warhammer purgatory, just like defending worthy souls from getting like taken into the warp? I mean, that's baller.
No, but it just adds this level of badassness, in my opinion.
It does. I mean, it's it's hella cool, but no prior narrative. You just smile and nod. It's Warhammer. Go with it.
Oh, but it's just, I think at this point, it's honestly just, hey, remember, this guy is like a cameo thing, really.
Yeah. It's like, in case you were wondering, yes, Grombrindle is that baller.
And right next to him is Stanley.
Yes, exactly. Here is the dude that he will protect for no apparent reason into the afterlife. Okay, sounds good. He's the angriest guardian angel that just hangs out in purgatory.
And could you ask for a better one?
Honestly, no. Genuinely, no. I don't think you could. Sigmar apparently couldn't. And that's really where like the books end with Sigmar's legacy. However, Sigmar himself, I mean, okay, well, again, he fought Nagash and won, which again is pretty impressive.
I mean, this is Sigmar we're talking about. Like, first he was facing off against Beastmen. Then he faced off against, like, a few Necromancers here and there. Then he faced off against a massive Orc Wall, probably one of the biggest ever in Warhammer Fantasy history. Or at least top 10, I'll say. Mm-hmm. Then he faced off against, like, a fucking Unite Chaos Force. Twice, mind you. First being Azazel and second Morcar, I think he said.
Oh, yeah. Morcar, eventually he'll have to fight off Morcar. Yeah. That doesn't get covered in the book, but he does kill him. Yeah.
Oh, that's after Nagash. Okay, but still, like, that's another thing. And fucking Nagash of all people.
Yeah, the guy who is basically a deity of undeath in one-on-one combat.
Mm-hmm. Oh, because he did a game of like a kind of hot potato with him.
Yeah, the fact that that's how he gets him is the funniest thing in the world for me. Like, hey, think fast, shit ass.
Well, honestly, with how much shit Nagash did, I think that's almost like very ironic or almost like just divine levels of perfect right there for him to get that fooled.
Yeah, honestly, it's so funny just being like, well, of all the ways that it's like this dick can get put down, just being like, here you go. Oh, here, by the way, sledgehammer.
It's almost divine justice at that point.
It really is. I can't imagine it going a better way. So yeah, it just gets clocked in the chest and just explodes for the next, like, however long it takes for him to get, reborn, because of course he will.
Yeah. It's like in Five Nights at Freddy's, he always comes back.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, the gas is gone. The Empire is saved. And at this point, the book ends, but I'm going to go to the wiki here because there's a really good... What was it? There was a really good thing of what happened to Sigmar himself. As mind you, he was kind of looking at this going yeah, eventually I will die and I will go and see Ravina, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't. What happens is Sigmar puts down his crown and he just up and leaves. And he makes one final statement to the people saying, "The Empire needs heirs, and you are all my heirs. Everyone who lives in this land is my heir. Everyone who fights and bleeds to protect the Empire, they will all be Sigmar's heirs." And, that's how he comes to become the sort of deity god king that he is before he just disappears. But it states that when he disappears, he goes on and does fight Morcar and kills Morcar and fights off the, incursion there. And also that he just goes on and just fight like a greater demon of Zeets at some point.
I mean, he fought
because why not? He goes on and just fights other monstrosities along the way.
I mean, he fought Bloodthirster. Why stop there?
Yeah, exactly. That was my first thought, was being like, at first it seemed far-fetched being like, oh, Lord of Chains, like whatever. Because it's like he already fought a Bloodthirster on one-on-one combat and NAGASH. I'm like, okay, water remains wet. Like, what's your point?
Mm-hmm.
The point is he goes off and just travels and abandons the Empire and just becomes this character of myth and just goes on to just fight all of the monstrosities of the known world until he ascends to become a god of the man and, the god king of man and lord of the Azure.
Pretty nice, I say.
Pretty cool. Pretty good shit. Well done, Sigmar. Well done. And that is really like all the lore that I have on Sigmar, really. From there, he just becomes this deity that the Empire prays to and is the staple point of the Empire itself, like, which I can understand why. He does a lot.
Well, yeah. Which also reminds me, it would be an awesome, like, almost death battle situation. Like, I think I know who the winner might be, given, like, what we know, but it'll still be awesome regardless. What if there was, like, a one-on-one duel between a Narian and Sigmar?
Ooh. Sort of Kane and Narian?
I guess I'm unsure, like, the before and after Sword of Cain. It depends, but...
yeah.
But, again, we're going with the ultimates. If Sigmar has Gomeraz, then maybe a Narian should have the Sword of Cain, then.
That's true. See, here's the thing I'm thinking about, though, is just being like, okay, so Sigmar fought Bloodthirsters, he fought Lords of Change, and, a Narian also did that. He fought all the different, like, Lords of the, like, Greater Demons of Chaos.
Mm-hmm.
But he also had his dragon with him.
Okay, let's say minus the dragon, just foot on foot on the patch of land wherever. Just to make it somewhat fair, at least.
I think Sigmar gets the W, and like obvious biases against the elves aside, like I genuinely think he might get the W in that.
While I am against elves, it will be a close fight regardless. I think a Narian might have a bit of an edge because, like, again, Sigmar is awesome. He is still a human compared to an elf of like similar magnitude. And if I recall, I think a Narian actually not only fought so many more greater demons than Sigmar, I think he fought like one type of each at the same time while defending, what was his name? Mr. Dragon Tamer guy at the Vortex.
Oh, yes, that is true. Yes, he did. Well, I think he had to fight off all types. Like, I think he had to fight off like one of each.
That's what I'm saying, at the same time while defending his friend at the Vortex.
Yeah. Oh, was it at the same time? It might have been.
I thought so, but I could be wrong. It's been a while since I read that from the wiki, honestly.
Again, though, dragon.
Well, again, if he had the dragon, it would have been different. But to make it fair, let's just say they're on foot, no mounts, just their weapons and skills.
Yeah, that's a rough one. You actually got me thinking pretty hard with that one. I don't have a good answer to that. Damn. That's a good pick, man.
Well, yeah, but again, even though I don't like elves, I think a Narian is like the exception that proves the rule for me.
Oh, he definitely is. No, well, okay. I mean, I don't know, Malekith, but I mean, I mean, I have to give him a shout out. Still impressive. So I mean, yeah, that's the entire. I mean, at some point we'll cover the Empire of like the modern era, and that will be its own thing as well. Because I have to do my research on that. I actually don't know too much about the Empire.
Right. Yeah, and there's going to be plenty of other topics we cover along the way as well, I'm sure.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. More my point being like, I'll get to the Empire when I get to the Empire, and it will get its own devoted episode of the modern time, the modern era. Because I really do think it's like, I'm so glad I read about this because Sigmar really is just like, oh, okay, I get it now. I get why he's the big deal.
I mean, there's a reason why he is like an actual deity in this setting here.
Literal god.
I'm surprised that Narian did not become so, but I guess that's a bit different, but who knows?
Well, yeah. Well, I guess, he died. So.
I thought Narian just disappeared after bringing back the sword, but I don't know.
No, he and his dragon are like, he puts the sword back and then he just dies on the Blighted Isle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, along with his dragon. Tragic.
Yeah.
The one good elf. Chad of elves. We lost them.
Well, one of two. I think Teclis is also good in the modern era.
Well, I mean, okay, there's been other good elves. Listen, there was the other dude, Imladric from the War of Vengeance.
Oh, duh, how could I forget? But like I'm saying, like I can count the number of good named characters on an amputated hand.
That's fair. Good point. I can, the list of grudges is endless for all the shithead elves, especially Phoenix King elves out there.
Oh, you mean Mr. Imric, what was it, the third?
Oh, yeah. No, it was the second. Wait. Second, yes.
Mr. Beard Shaver, you mean, right?
The Beard Shaver one, yes.
Oh, no, you're right.
It
is second, you're right, because there was like Mr. Imric before that was actually kind of an okay guy against Malekith.
Yes. But then also there was, okay. I'm not doing the name scheme thing. I'm already getting angry thinking about it. You're making me, you're like rage baiting.
No. Plus, I think I already explained that too, because Imric, the Dragon Tamer, was never a Phoenix King, therefore he never had a title the first or whatever.
Well, it was Calidor.
Calidor. Why am I? God damn it. Okay. I'm stupid there.
And then there was Imric, who dubbed himself Calidor. And then there was Calidor the Second.
You're right, yeah.
Would have been the great grandchild of Calidor.
Calidor Dragon Tamer, you mean. Magic.
Yes.
Calidor, let's call him Magic Boy.
Magic Boy, the good one. God.
Yes. The one who actually helped in saving the world.
Yes, exactly. Oh my God, I hate it. It's so stupid. It's like an actual medieval dynasty at this point. My God.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's where it's like back with Napoleon, where it's like you had Napoleon the First, and it's like, oh, who's the next Napoleon? Napoleon the Third. It's like, where the fuck did the second go?
Yeah, exactly. Or Louis, however the fucking many Louis there were.
Ugh, and don't get me started on Prince Henry, King Henry's as well.
Oh God. We're going on a completely different tangent now. But that leaves me with Sigmar. He's a cool dude. He's a Chad. We all know this. But yes, living legend. You have any questions regarding anything more I might be able to clear up? The brief bit I might be able to.
Well, what happened to that dwarf that was speaking a bunch of babbles you were talking about earlier?
Oh, unfortunately, that was just like a engineer of Zufbar, and he did not survive. He did not survive his wounds, but he did give the coordinates of like where to find the Thunder Barge or whatever it was called. So
was he attacked by the undead? Was also like an early sign of it, or what?
Oh no, he just got attacked by some forest goblins while his convoy was just making their way to the forest.
Okay, you're right. Sorry, I completely forgot about that part.
No, I mean, it is very that's the issue with the third book and trying to summarize it is it really has a personal level that I would recommend reading it for that I just can't summarize within like an hour. Like,
Gotcha.
It's very good. Would recommend. Well, shall I take us home then?
Just let me just think for a second here.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing like whoever is left that wasn't turned into a vampire just became elector counts in their own rights, and just whatever happens, I guess.
Oh yeah, with the rest of the elector counts, it was just the thing is that even at this point, there's already conspiracy on princes killing princesses, marriage, so that different elector counts can sort of have a mutual beneficiary towards their two states working together and all this kind of stuff, right? There's already a struggle for power taking place.
Gotcha.
And eventually it's like, oh, well, the, elector count's, granddaughter, of Ostermark, who is also like the wife of, the Count of, Reich Altdorf or whatever. Like just stuff like that, right?
Right.
That's already taken place. And in regards to the vampires, there were 2 elector counts that got turned into vampires, and yeah, they just got the hell out. They just ran.
Including the one that Sigmar, the guy from earlier, got converted, or was he killed by Sigmar?
No, he did not get... I think one gets killed, to the best of my recollection. One gets killed, and the other one gets away.
Okay.
Yeah, there was like 2 of them. Beyond that, it was... Yeah, the rest of them were still just standard... all the other elector counts were left okay. Yeah. We're left all right.
All right. In that case, like, I don't have anything else at the moment here. Thank you, my good sir.
Of course. Always a pleasure, man. I mean, I'm sure Sigmar will come in. Well, he'll definitely fucking come up in the future. But, like, if there's anything I missed out, I could cover it then, is what I'm saying.
Well, all we know is that we've been using Malekith and Anarian as a template of some kind. Now we have Sigmar as a new template for comparison of other people in the future.
Yeah, and I think Sigmar can legitimately just be a template of get shit done.
S tier, get shit done, very little problems whatsoever.
And with that, I'll take us home. All right. Well, thank you all so much for listening to this episode. Please, if there's anything I missed out, feel free to let me know. If there is anything that you're curious about, feel free to comment. I'd be happy to answer it. And let us know if there's anything you'd like us to cover in the future. We do have stuff lined up, but I'm always eager to take ideas. I'm always eager to learn new stuff. So by all means, let me know. And until then, we will see you in the next episode. Take care.